Good morning, everybody. I hope that you're well. I hope your families are well. I hope that everyone is uh, safe. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the Enlightenment. This is from my AP Euro class. So, the Enlightenment is a intellectual movement that follows the scientific revolution of the 1600s. Copernicus, with the heliocentric theory of the solar system, and Galileo, Kepler, William Harvey with the blood circulation of the blood, circulatory systems, and it basically leads to the idea after Newton publishes the Principia, that is the mathematical principles of natural philosophy. The short title is the Principia. At the end of the 1600s, in 1687, that there are natural laws that underpin all the entire universe and everything within it. That is, every human institution, every human endeavor has natural laws that must be discovered through reason, logic, and the organization of that knowledge in a scientific fashion. And that if one can do that, then one can apply those natural laws to eliminate any errors in society and lift mankind to a greater level of societal development. That is, superstition, religion, all those things are to be eliminated from society, or at least limited in their effect, in their societal effect, so that reason, logic can prevail. This is an intellectual movement that gains a great deal of steam in the aftermath of the English Civil War and the 30 Years' War. Those are the last great struggles where religion plays a major role. As a result, what you have is a rejection of those principles as necessary for society, and in the embracing of reason, logic, and natural law. The foremost spokesman for that type of philosophy politically are Thomas Hobbes with his book The Leviathan, where he rejects religion as the basis of legitimacy for political systems. He basically says that because man is such a terrible animal, that one has to create a absolute state, a leviathan. A leviathan is a great sea beast, to control the baser passions of human beings. So he argues for the absolutist state as necessary in order to prevent man from rending other men to pieces in order to take what they have. Hobbes doesn't seem to be very, very liberal, but he is an Enlightenment philosopher because he rejects the idea of religion as the basis of political legitimacy, while embracing the idea of a natural law, the natural law of human beings being, in Hobbes' opinion, the kind of baser passions of human beings. In order to control them, you need an absolute state. The more interesting, or at least influential philosopher is John Locke. John Locke writes a major work on political philosophy. It is the two treatises of government, treatises or essays of government. And he publishes that really right after Isaac Newton's Principia comes out. And what Locke argues is that the element of legitimacy in government is basically government's protection of human beings and their three inalienable rights: life, liberty, and property. Those are three rights that government must guarantee, must protect, and cannot violate if government is to be a legitimate government. That is a government that must be obeyed without the application of force. John Locke is very, very influential because John Locke also writes an essay on human understanding, where he argues that all knowledge comes from sensory perceptions. That is a major work in the Enlightenment, as you can well understand. If all knowledge comes through reason and the senses, then there can be grasped reasonably and through scientific empirical processes. Locke establishes the basic framework for English constitutional government and American constitutional government, since John Locke is adopted by the American revolutionaries. He has major influence on the French Revolution, the early part of the French Revolution. The moderate phase from 1789 to 1792 is really a Lockean revolution, one that is led by the bourgeoisie, who are very interested in promoting the rights of property, life, and liberty, since they felt that the absolutist government in France had trampled all of those and therefore had lost whatever legitimacy it claimed. John Locke becomes very, very influential in that first phase, and he is the intellectual inspiration for the Declaration of the Rights of Man and for the American Declaration of Independence. Later on, the Enlightenment becomes much more radical. Much more radical in the works of Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau writes a book in 1762, The Social Contract, where Rousseau says that liberty or rights are not the basis of, or the protection of rights are not the basis, or isn't the basis for the legitimacy of government, but only governments that guarantee equality, political equality, social equality, and to some extent, he lays down the argument for economic equality. Only those governments that do that are legitimate governments. Rousseau has a great deal of influence in the radical elements in the Enlightenment. He talks about equality as the basis of legitimacy, and it's something that is adopted by the more radical voices in both the American Revolution and in the French Revolution. The French Revolution in particular, 1792 to 1794, which is the radical phase, basically influenced by the ideas of Rousseau. The revolutionaries who take the leadership of that period basically reject the arguments of Locke and adopt the arguments of Rousseau as the guiding principles of their revolutionary process. I want you to continue practicing the long essay and time yourself 45 minutes. So I will be posting over the week more of those practice essays for you. And please continue to do that. As you know, the AP exam will be 145-minute long free response essay. Okay, I'm going to stop it now, and I'll be posting this. Bye.